Good morning and welcome to the Wavy Tunnel Pro Market Outlook for the 5th of May 2026. Before we start, if you can all just take a moment to read the disclaimer that the presentation is for educational purposes only. And then we will start having a look to see what's in store for us today. On an economic front, not too much. That's going to get people too excited. Maybe some of these Fed speakers that might say something, but there's nothing in there. Later in the morning, you will get the crude stock change. That might be important. But before then, no, nothing. Earnings tonight. A&D come out. The results to date, most companies are knocking it out the park, but then earnings, usually 90% of them always beat the consensus views, and sometimes you get the occasional shock. So that's from that perspective. I won't go into any in great detail. We had a long session yesterday. I'll just tidy things up, and I believe one of the recordings didn't come out that well. So hopefully you can hear me, and let's go and have a look and see what's going on and what's happened overnight. So let's just go into the 1 hour and let's go straight into Wavy Tunnel. Let's go and see what's been happening and where are we at the moment. So you know exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put on my there he is. Because what am I looking for? I'm looking for areas of confluence. I'm looking for Wavy Tunnel to confirm or strengthen the argument of the position that I want to take, and then I want to look for an entry. I think some of the questions that were coming through yesterday is obviously on entry, and that's the most difficult question to answer, because the when, if we could answer that question successfully, we would all be pretty wealthy. But so for now, I just observe what's going on within a range. What does that range coincide with? It coincides with the left hand side. So I know my area of interest. So I'm always looking to narrow down the area that I'm looking at so that I can find a trade. What is the Wavy Tunnel suggesting to us on the hourly? So we have our first impulse up, breakout 1. We've got this move lower into the wave. It halted. Was it going to continue to give us a completion above 118, or was it going to have a deeper correction? We got the deeper correction. So now you can see something, and so I'll just draw your attention to, I've got a box here. So this is a period of reflection, where we're going to go. So it's the same thing when we consolidated here. We either come lower and retest the lows, or we're going to retest the top of the wave and the tunnel, and we then are going to either break out and continue higher and get our C wave, or we are going to come down. This will test this. If it breaks this, it becomes a more complex structure. But for now, that's what we've got. So we've got defined ranges. We know what they are. We know where our areas of interest are. And so you frame out your chart, you go into Wavy Tunnel, and now you look to see where you are. So now we've set it up. So let's put our target in as well. So let's do it properly. Target is up here. As long as we stay above here. And now we've got two areas of interest to us. I suppose we should put the last one in as well so that we've done it properly. And it's this one up here, which is the top. So So you've got the bottom, you've got the top, you've got the two areas where you are looking for decisions to be made, and you've got a target and you've got a stop loss. So obviously, like we showed you yesterday, the closer you get to this level, the smaller your potential loss is, the greater your reward is. So they become, on a risk reward basis, you start looking for 5, 6 to 1 trades rather than 1 to 1 or 2 to 1. So let's just go down into the 15-minute quickly and go and see if that will help us refine where we are. And we can see, so we're chopping here. There is literally not too much to do. We're starting to hug the wave. We're waiting for this tunnel to come down. You've got the higher time frame. So that's the 1 hour tunnel that's up there that we've got. So you see this would fill the gap trade, and then possibly come down, retest here. So very difficult at the moment. Price action is still pretty erratic, if that's the right word. And so look for trades in this box here. Look for trades on the breakout. Now remember what we talked about yesterday. Breaking out, wait for the retest, and then try and go. So let's have a look. Let's just see if I can tidy this up to just narrow the range so we can get the breakouts to see, because you want closes. So closes are there and there. So that's the right drawing of the box. So we can see here, out, didn't close, we didn't close. So you know, can you take these trades? Yes, they have a higher degree of risk when you're taking breakout trades, because you get these that jump out and jump straight back in. Can you get, you know, when you're playing breakouts, get to break even as quickly as possible, because they usually come back and look, and then look, they came back in, they try to get out again. So two ways to play this: breakout or keep playing this range. So and that's it, and then just wait, and then once you get out of here, you move into this range. If you start settling out here, the probability of going here increases by more than 50%, and vice versa. And same thing when you get out of here, then you start bringing the recent top into play. So we'll leave the euro there. Let's go to sterling. And looks pretty much the same, although sterling tried to go a little bit, looks like it was a little bit stronger than the euro. Why, I don't know, because politically and economically the UK is in a bit of a mess. So that shows you sometimes that these things are not determined by and not reflective of what's really going on. So what do I see immediately? I start seeing similar patterns that keep repeating. And what do I mean by that? This is what I mean. I start seeing correction and breakout. Correction, breakout. And you see them here, and you see them here. So what's developing here? Same pattern, same pattern. So what if we got here? Fill the gap. We got the tunnel here, we got the wave here. What are we going to do? You can see lovely 45-degree angle, pullbacks into the wave. We're looking for a setup. Bang, we go. When we get into no man's land, there's no trade. Unless you are in a trade and you're still riding and you're just managing. If you've got one of these earlier trades, when you get into this, by now you've taken some profits if you're trading more than one or added to your position, and your stop loss goes to this level here, below that swing. But you want to follow it, and as soon as you get a new high, you bring that swing up, and there's your stop. You just keep moving it. Where's our target? Our Our target is up here. That's what we're aiming for. What else do we want to see on this chart? We want to have a look and see what happens in this area here. So slightly deeper retracement. And what did we observe yesterday in the currencies? You know, when I watch Nasdaq, it has short corrections and then goes again. Currencies, some of them like deeper corrections. So we can anticipate a deeper correction. But for now, our chart is framed out and we've got levels that we are observing and watching. So these are your areas of focus. What's the other thing you want to draw on here? You've got a trend line. And the trend line is just to follow this because there's a potential breakout. Break above that. This, similarly as the wavy tunnel trend lines are, the breaks of them indicate a possible move in another direction. Here's a good example of a trend break here. And what did you have below? And this is where the wavy tunnel will help you, because you start, then you've got to appraise risk reward. What else is happening? The wave is starting to go flat. This is starting to converge.
Order filled.
So again, it's an area where you might not necessarily want to, you know, it's like picking your fights. And you've got a congestion area here now. If we can establish above here, we're going to retest highs, break the highs, repaint the Royal Noble, and bang, we come up here. If we continue to flirt with these areas, we'll stay in this range here. If we consolidate below, come back and touch it, then you're going to move there, and that's your trade. What does it look like on the 1 hour? And you can see how messy it gets. Ideally, you want to find breakout one and then go from there. And then, because it becomes a little bit easier, because then you've got a defined starting point rather than trying to jump in the middle. Let's go to the yen, because there's been a lot of intervention in this. And you can see after the first, this is a good example. Let me just blow this up a bit. Because what I want to show you here is this. Look at this. Look at the support in this area. So I mean, this is the yen, but this can apply to anything. What am I doing? Until I get below there, we're not going down. It's quite simple. So now you've got a broader range. What else are we doing? We want to see that low that was broken. So we've not retested that level, which then corresponds with a 50% retracement of the intervention. And you see how you frame. If we were to get above that and deeper correction, what do we run into? Our lovely numbers up here. And so we want to put that area. And what does that correspond with? That corresponds with that. So now you've framed out. What's our target on this impulse lower? It's down here. There it is. And then you put on, you framed it out. I wish they would stay on here because it would just make my life easy. But you can see here. Can you trade this? Difficult. But this is just a good example of how patience will pay off eventually. And now you can see this is your pivot area. What does that pivot area coincide with? The wave. What's beyond that? Fill the gap and the tunnel. What else can you do? You just match the link the lows. Whoops. Why aren't we getting that? I want that over there. Because I know that I'm going to get a triangle out of this pattern. So you can see now. So when I say about confluence of ideas, what have we got? We'll have the awesome oscillator coming to the 0 line, decision point, to continue lower or to go up. We've got a wave. We've got previous area of good support. We've got the strong intervention that pushed it through it. We've got a wave. We've got a tunnel. We've got an ascending triangle. What does all that say? It suggests that the balance of probabilities suggest that this will come lower. But we know how markets are, and there's any number of catalysts that can stop that from happening. So, and this is how you set up your charts. And what I always do is I look for the close. So my important close is there. So I can see here, strong. So all the demand is sitting down here. All the demand. So it's either the people that are playing, they sold it there anticipating Bank of Japan.
Target filled.
And they taking profits. Or it's people that think it's going to exceed 160 and it's going to go higher, and they sit in there and they're buying it. But what you've got now is an area of interest. I don't suggest that you play this yen because it's difficult and you can see that it does nothing for hours and it'll bore you to death, but when it goes, it goes. So it's just an educational tool to show you how and what to look for. The Aussie dollar we'll have a quick look at because they raised interest rates today. And let's see what the impact of that was. Now you see, this is a great example of buy the rumor, sell the fact, because raising interest rates you would have anticipated, bang, up, right? So, but no problem. They're giving you another opportunity. So now you've got breakout one. There you go. Up you go. We're coming into here. So what we could do is we're going to frame this out. This looks flaggy. This looks like it's waiting. But what have we got? Now we've got a low. We've got a high. We've got a target. Now we're looking for a trade setup. So on a fractal basis, I look at this here. You see these here? They look like they're going down still. So it looks like it still wants to go down. But on a higher time, this is fractal as well, and also is one of the is a flag for a move higher. Whereas these are on lower time frames are possible setups for further moves lower. Let's just show you that and how that works. So you can see here where you break out these little flags that we saw here are all represented. Here, pull it back to the wave, bang, we go down. Pull back to the wave, bang, we go down. Pull back to the wave, bang, we go down. A little bit deeper. What I will also say is an observation. When you've done this 3 or 4 times back into the wave, there'll always be one that squeezes just beyond because everyone's getting used to it, and there'll be one that has a deeper retracement. So again, the same analysis and the same reasons apply when I say the sharper the move, the smaller the retracement. But there'll always be one that's a sharp move. This is a deeper retracement because we've come a long way, and we're coming into the bottom, and everything's starting to look like a reversal to go higher. Now we saw that reversal because we're looking at this here and saying the reversal could come, bang. So what you would anticipate on this hourly chart is possibly some consolidation in this area here. What's that coinciding with? Our lovely numbers that we love here. Look to the left, and that's all a nice area. So this could come down, give you a flag, break of that trend line, and up we go again. And this is what you're doing. But you're looking in this chart, it's giving you a slightly different picture. And what we said in the other one, looking for a little bit lower. And is that playing out? What's happening here? Look there, look there, look there, look there, look there. Same candle pattern. And what's it doing? There's sellers on top. And they defend in this area. So this now becomes your critical area here. We need to get back above there. Yeah, you've got a low, you've got a support area, you've got a Royal Noble. What's going to happen here? Are we going to repaint? But you're now on the alert, because now you've got two types of setups, and you're looking and you're hunting. So let's leave that there. Let's go on to the futures. And then, because I don't want this video to be long, because we've done the set length. So what can we see here on the Nasdaq? I've been trading it this morning. I keep selling the highs and it keeps coming back. Why am I selling the highs? Because I've got a lot of gamma levels that I'm fighting with, and I've got them around. I've got a big point at 27,950. So let me just put that on the chart. 27,950. Where is that? Somewhere there. So every time it goes in here, I keep selling it. I've got higher levels at 28. So I know, and you can see this is a grind. This is a grind. They're grinding. They were looking for resolutions. What's going to happen here? Look on the awesome oscillator. So every time I get above this high and this high, because you can see now. So this is what you call internal divergence. So that peak and that peak, that peak and that peak, you've got divergence. So you've got continuous divergence. So every high you get, unless our divergence breaks that level, because then you break it and now the momentum is stronger again. But until then, I'm sell rallies. Again, this is for educational purposes. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, just to show you, and just give you some insight, but I'm not telling you what to do. So there, what have we got here? So I will be looking for a fill the gap trade down here to take profits and maybe reverse, because then all these would have rolled over. We start coming down again. But what's happened here? Can you see here? Every time we've rolled over, what's nothing? Nothing. There's too many buyers. So selling is tough because I'm fighting the trend, but it also slows down the pace of the move unless you get an explosive move. And then, that throws out your rhythm. But for now, it's just grinding. So let's just go into a slightly lower time frame and see if there's anything else you can see. This is all framed out. You've got your levels. You know what the levels are. I can tell you that that's going to be a strong area. So all this area up here is strong resistance. Again, but for now, from a technical perspective and from a wavy tunnel perspective, what have we got? We've got a 45-degree angle on the wave. We've got the tunnel that's there as support. Look how that supported this whole, and this became pivot. Are we going up? Are we going down? Are we going up? Are we going? Okay, no, we're going up. And then off you go. And then, so spend time in the charts, look where your levels are, look where your bigger levels are, and go from there. S&P, same. That looks flaggy in nature. You can see that this was also in continuous divergence. And what am I going to do? Because it was that high, and then every subsequent high has not been higher on momentum. and this is internal divergence, that peak there, so that's called, so that also gives you an indication of, this is like Custer's last stand, you know, it's like, we only got 3 bullets left, let's use them and see if we can get it through. No, you can't. Sellers are too strong. Bang, down you come. So we're in a decision area here. Wave is rolling over from its 45 degree, it's going flat, tunnel is catching up, we've got a high up here. What have we got behind there? We've got a big gamma level there, and there's more at 73.25, 73.45, there's loads. What else have we got on here? We can just put that in there. If you want to do it as, you know, as a trend channel, you can do that as well, because it'll work. So you can either follow that up, play in that, and wait for the breakout. Breakout, touch, down she goes. So just keep an eye on that. Let's have a look at what it looks like in the 15-minute. So you can see you've got your wavy tunnel trend lines. I suppose we've got too many lines on here now, but you know, however you want to set up your chart. And strong resistance area. So the closer we get to here, I can see here that we've been struggling. So I've been doing the same in this morning. Every time it pops up, I know it, the closer it gets to this level, I know it's going to slow down. So I'm waiting for a nice impulsive move. And if it's aggressive, then I jump in. But that's me and my bias and the way I trade. Always try and take advantages of aggressive moves up or down, because you know you're going to get a reaction. You're going to get a reaction. Let's see what oil is doing. What does that look like? Now you've got the wavy tunnel trend line helping you. Break out, and if we break out, where are we going? We've got a high.
Order filled.
Simple. We've got our swing low, swing high. We haven't had a decent correction. Remember again, the more aggressive, the less the correction. But it will come out. Let's have a look and see what we've got here. So you see, now I can't say we've got divergence, because we don't. Because I can see here, this is how I'm measuring it. So this is a good example of the opposite. So there's the first impulse higher, there's the high. What if we had here? We've not really had divergence, because the momentum is still there. It's still there, it's still there. This is not reflective because it's not higher than that peak. So I can't measure that against that. It's only if it breaks that I can say if it doesn't get above there, then I've got divergence. Then it changes the complexity for me a little bit. There's the euro. We were looking at that yesterday. So here's an example. Came out, didn't stay out, came out, stayed out, touched, bang. There's your trade. Now you've got a decision point again. What if we got above us? We've got a 45-degree sloping wave. We've got a tunnel above. So we could go back into the box. So the box is there. It's still our friend. We've got a swing low, a swing high. It's all mapped out. I will leave all these things on so that we can revisit and see how our analysis is doing. Because we've got targets up there. We've got that target is intact while we remain above there. We've got this consolidation area and all these numbers that we like. Nice deep correction. The closer we get to here, then the better the risk reward is for a trade. If we get back up here, then you look to take profits, and I'd be looking at reversals because I look at this strong move up here. So I really like this level up here for sells, because on another degree, this is your first impulse lower. Remember, we're fractal by nature. So let's put that in there, and let's put that in there, Let me just change it so we can have I just want to change the picture so you can get the different levels to see how they correspond. I know this gets messy. But what it is you've had, there's your 1. This is your 2. What would be lovely and nice running flat is for this to come back up here, which would then be a 61 to our sweet spot again. And then we come lower, and then here's our target. So you see how you're trading both sides of it. You've got it all set up. It's all ready and it's all waiting. This is what we're dealing with now. Are we going to have a continuation? You can see if we hit our target or break this area will become a congestion area. This is where you want to look for sales, because you know that there's a potential trade all the way down to 1620. And then you get on that bus and you stay on that bus, because that'll be a good bus. And that's what we do. Did we look at gold? Gold is, for me, sell rallies at the moment. But again, this is for educational purposes. I just have biases and things that I've learned. Flaggy, fill the gap, possible trade. If that's not the trade, a deeper retracement, that'll be the trade. Set up your charts. So first area, 38.2, lovely. 50%, lovely. Got it all mapped out, how that corresponds with left side of price and tunnel, and then off you go. I hope that's been helpful today, guys. I hope the recording came out. That was short and sweet. I'll keep them limited because, you know, we cover it nearly every day, so it's just a refresh. If there's any questions, please fire off the questions, and I'm happy to help. Have a nice day.